Hello and welcome to this episode of Creating with Howcraft. My name is Denise Yesbach-Moore with howcraftcollection.com. Today I'm going to show you how to create stretch bracelets. The tools and supplies you will need to create these bracelets are round nose pliers for tying your knot, wire cutters, JA-GSHYPO cement, stretch cording, and an assortment of beads. You will also need a little stopper to hold the end of your cording. If you don't have a stopper like this, you can use masking tape. Let's discuss stretch cording. The size of the stretch cord depends on the size of your bead hole. The larger the bead hole, I recommend using larger size cord. Obviously, this one is 1 millimeter, so it needs a very large hole to hide the knot. The smaller, it's easier to hide the knot. Howcraftcollection.com has an amazing assortment of stretch cord in a variety of different sizes. Today we're going to learn how to create two different bracelets, a classic stretch bracelet, and then a stretch bracelet that has a connector on it. So we are going to start off creating a classic stretch bracelet. Now, I chose these wood beads. I thought it looked pretty with the red stack, and I am picking my cord size by the bead hole. These bead holes are pretty big, so I am going to use 0.8 millimeter stretch cord to create this bracelet. Our first step is to cut about a 10-inch length of stretch cord. I always stretch my cord before I string my beads. This helps the bracelet maintain its shape once it's created, so just kind of go through and stretch your cord. I just strung 16 11 to 12 millimeter Philippine wood beads and this cute little resin flower. The bigger the beads, the more beads you have to add to your strand, but I always like to go through and I kind of do a quick check to see how it's going to fit on my wrist. And my wrist is about a 6.5 inch wrist. So I strung 16 of these beads. So I'm going to remove my little stoppers. And I'm just kind of pulling this nice and tight. And I'm wrapping it around my fingers. I like to come back in with my round nose pliers. I'm placing it inside. And I'm going to grab those two strands. And I'm going to pull them through. Then I'm going to go back in between the strands right here. And I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move my fingers out of the way and I'm going to pull that knot down. We're going to separate the strands, give a little tug, and then I like to come back in and go under 1, 2, and pull that knot down. And there you can see my little knot. Now I'm going to come in with my wire cutters and I'm going to trim off those little ends. And then we're grabbing our JA-GSHYPO cement and we're dabbing that knot. And then we're going to hide it inside of the bead, close it, and that's all there is to it. Our next bracelet is a similar version to this connector bracelet. For this bracelet, I'm using these Philippine wood white 11 to 12 millimeter Heshi beads and these white bleached fancy shell beads. I'm looking at the holes. Although these holes are big, this hole is smaller. So I have to go off of this size And I am going to use a 0.6 millimeter bead cord because we are going to pass this cord back through. It's going to give this bracelet double strength. So I just strung 4 Philippine wood beads and then 10 of the 12 millimeter beads and then 4 of the wood beads. For this bracelet, I cut about a 15-inch length of the stretch cord. Once I stretch it, the cord gets longer. So, and once again, I said it was 0.6 millimeter, and I went through and stretched it. So now I'm grabbing this beautiful mother of pearl connector, and we're just going to remove one side. And let's see, let's come around, and we're going to string that. And we have to pass our cord back through all of the beads until we get to the center. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to string it back through the beads till I get to the center. So I just got to the center, and we're going to come over and we're going to put that little connector right there to stabilize it until we tie the knot. Now we're coming over to the other side and we're removing our little stopper. And we're going to pick up and string the other side, bring it down. And now once again, we have to pass the cord back through all of our other beads. I'm going to pause it while I string these little beads. I'm almost to the last bead, but I wanted to give you a little tip. I like to hold those strands down when going through the hole. It gives it a little bit extra room. So you can see I passed my cord back through all of those beads. So let's remove our little stopper, and now we need to move those beads nice and tight. We are now going to form our knot. The beads are all nice and tight. I'm wrapping around my fingers. I'm grabbing my round nose pliers, going through, grabbing those 2 strands and pulling them through. And then I'm going back in right here, and I'm going to hold that down, release my fingers, and pull that knot down. Then I'm separating the strands, giving it a little tug, coming back over, going under 1, 2, and pulling that down. So we have formed our little knot. Now we are going to trim these 2 little strands right here. And I'm opening it, and I'm getting my JA-GSHYPO cement. And we're just going to dab that knot with the glue, come over and hide the knot inside of the bead. And there you have it, how to create a connector stretch bracelet and a regular stretch bracelet. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe at Howcraft USA. Follow us on Instagram at Howcraft Collection Beads. Be sure to visit howcraftcollection.com for more inspirational DIY projects and for all your jewelry making needs. New beads are added weekly, and each week howcraftcollection.com features an amazing new sale. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.